Inside my head, or inside my brain, is that part of me which keeps me sane, which helps discern between right and wrong, and other things I'm gonna talk about in this song. It's time for the people to know, so now I tell them what goes on in my cerebrum and my cerebellum, the thought process that helps me get dressed, get up and go to school, sit down and take a test.
Welcome back to the Mental Weight Room podcast, where we train the brain as hard as we train the body. I'm your host, certified mental performance coach Antoinette Daytalk, and today's episode is a special feature just for coaches. We've all had athletes we might quietly label as difficult or even uncoachable, but here's the truth. With the right tools, those athletes can become unstoppable. And often the difference isn't about their talent or work ethic, it's about our ability as coaches to communicate, to set clear expectations, and to connect. Today, I'm going to give you strategies built around the concept of the rule of threes that you can take back to your athletes and apply right away. Let's start with communicating expectations. Athletes crave clarity. If expectations aren't crystal clear, confusion arises, frustration builds, and performance suffers. When we say things like work harder or be more intense, the brain doesn't magically know what we mean. Without specificity, athletes fill in the gaps, and often in ways that don't help them succeed. So here's your rule of threes for communicating expectations. Rule 1, be clear. Define exactly what you want. Work harder isn't enough. Be specific about what harder looks like. Number 2, be consistent. Revisit and restate expectations regularly. Don't assume that your athletes remember everything from the last practice. And number 3, be sure they understand. Don't assume your athletes understand. Ask them if they do. Clarity isn't just about performance, it's about trust. When athletes know what's expected, they feel supported and they focus on execution instead of guessing what you want. Now let's talk about connection. One of the most powerful tools you have as a coach is how you engage with athletes during practices and games. I first learned about the rule of threes for connection from lacrosse coach Tracy Morgan, who was a guest on the podcast. Tracy's framework is simple but powerful. As a coach, you need to have at least 3 meaningful points of connection with every athlete in every practice or game. These 3 points are non-negotiable. Number 1, a fun greeting. Start with energy, smile, acknowledge the athlete by name, and create a light moment. Number 2, meaningful feedback. Give feedback that is specific, actionable, and relevant. Not just good job or do better, but something the athlete can use to improve. Number 3, meaningful close. End practice or leave a game intentionally. Look them in the eye, thank them for their effort, and encourage them for what's next. By intentionally making these 3 connections with every athlete, you build trust, engagement, and a culture where athletes feel seen and valued. Now let's tackle one of the biggest challenges, assumptions. Coaches, we all make snap judgments. We do it a lot. An athlete rolls his eyes, shows up late, or seemed checked out, and our first thought is usually negative. They don't care. They're lazy. They've got a bad attitude. Here's the important piece. When things aren't clear, the brain fills in the gaps to create a story, and the brain leans negative. So our first story about an athlete is often the worst case scenario. This is where the rule of threes for empathy comes in. Whenever you notice behavior that frustrates or confuses you, pause and generate 3 alternative reasons for why that athlete might be acting that way. For example, they're tired from a heavy school or work schedule. They're distracted by something going on at home. They don't fully understand the expectations because they weren't clearly communicated. By forcing yourself to generate 3 possibilities, you slow down, step into empathy, and see things from the athlete's perspective. Engaging with curiosity instead of judgment opens the door to trust and connection. This leads naturally to listening, and listening is a coaching superpower. Most of us listen to respond, not to understand. Athletes know when we're only half hearing them. Instead, actively listen, ask questions, give space, and reflect back what you hear. Sometimes what an athlete needs isn't a lecture, it's a coach who will actually hear them. When athletes feel heard, they're more likely to buy into your process. And when they buy in, they take feedback seriously, execute the plan, and ultimately thrive. the big takeaway from today. Coaches, your words and actions carry weight. By setting clear expectations, connecting intentionally, and practicing empathy, you're not just shaping athletes, you're shaping people. And as you head back into practices and games this week, take these tools with you. That's how you take athletes from uncoachable to unstoppable. Thanks for stepping into the mental weight room with me today. If you found this episode helpful, share it with another coach who could use these tools. Write us a review, tap 5 stars, and be sure to subscribe and follow us on social media so you never miss an episode. Also, be sure to check out the show notes for a link to a free, downloadable clipboard cheat sheet for coaches. This is Antoinette Daytalk signing off. Until next time, keep training your brain like you train your body and keep pushing your limits.